Hello and welcome to This Week in the Garden. We're finally on week 3, it's into May now, and we're finishing up our garden preparation and planting. It's still not too late to get ready and start a garden and get ready into planting. So if you haven't already done it, check out our videos and you should be up to date and ready to start planting after this video. So planting a garden is pretty straightforward. The first thing to think about is the timing of when you're going to plant, and we've got a great planting calendar for that that's specific to this area. And I'll have that link in the article description, so check that out. But the way that you read the calendar is you find the vegetable and then you scroll over to the side and you see what day there is best to plant it, and then it'll tell you if it's best to plant it as seeds or transplants. So it's really easy, really straightforward. And I definitely recommend using that as your guide for planting. The other thing to consider with the date is what the weather is like. So you want to plant when you have nice weather, when the soil is warm, when it's warm outside, but not too hot, and you want to make sure that it's going to be a nice forecast for the next 3 or 4 days. The reason is you don't want to plant your seeds and then have a lot of rain and have those seeds rise up or get buried too deep. And you also want to make sure that it's not too windy or something like that, so your transplants don't get blown over and things like that. So make sure that you choose the appropriate date and that the weather is nice when you're getting ready to plant. So once you have your planting date picked out and you know it's going to be nice weather, the next thing is, are you going to be planting seeds or transplants? Now there's 2 vegetables that can only be grown as transplants. Those are tomatoes and peppers, and that's because of how long it takes for them to mature. But everything else can be planted really as a seed or a transplant. The benefit of planting transplants over seeds is they're a little bit hardier. Seeds are a little bit more vulnerable. You have to worry about, are they going to emerge, and everything in the soil that can damage a seed wants to eat a seed. With a transplant, they've already had some growth on them. Your biggest concern is, are they going to establish in your soil? Are their roots going to survive? Those are really the big differences between the two. The similarities really come when you're preparing for planting and when you're taking care of them right as you plant it. So when you go to plant a seed, you want to plant the seed the depth of the seed. That's the general rule. So if we think of something like a squash seed that's maybe 1/2 inch long, that's how deep you want to plant it. And that's because seeds only have enough energy to go a certain distance, whether that's an inch for a big seed like a pumpkin, or a very small amount for seeds like mustards and kale and things like that. When you're planting transplants, you want to plant them right to the soil line. That'll allow them to make sure their roots can establish, but they're not buried too deep. And then once you've planted your seed or your transplant, you need to water it. And this is a really important step. You want to water it almost every day for about 2 weeks. Now, some of that depends on how much rain you get, what type of soil you have, but that's the general rule, is to water every day, a light watering. I water mine for about 10 minutes every day. I have a sprinkler set up for my corn and I water it for 10 minutes, so that's my general rule there. But it does vary again depending on your soil and everything. You just want your soil to stay nice and moist. You don't want water to be pooling, and you don't want it to dry out. For your seeds, that's especially important, because if it dries out, there's a chance that those little roots that are forming will dry up, and that'll kill your new plant. So that's all we have for this week. It's a relatively short episode, but check out our special edition video that we posted on Wednesday, where you'll be able to vote for next week's class. So it's a kind of cool opportunity for y'all to pick what comes next. Also, make sure that you sign up for our Eventbrite class for this. That'll allow you to get emails so you're notified when we post new articles and videos. But also it allows you to enter our giveaway, and we started our first giveaway last Friday, and it's going to continue until the 15th, so next Friday. All you have to do is send us a picture of your garden, whatever your vegetable garden looks like. If it's some containers, if it's a garden in raised beds or something like that, just take a picture, send it to us, and make sure you're signed up through Eventbrite, and then we'll send you some seed packets for your garden. So we'll send you some seeds to get your garden started. So pretty easy. You have until May 15th at 5 o'clock. So make sure that you enter our giveaway and you sign up, and we'll see you next time on This Week in the Garden.